Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is December 28, 2023, and today is Thursday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, we're watching JP Morgan rally to new yearly highs as it corners off 2023. And not only that, it's inching closer to its all-time record highs. But first, no major economic events scheduled for today. So as we look at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, the euro breaking out higher and the dollar sliding almost across the board. Now looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ inching to new record highs. Now looking at commodities, gold does gain just slightly while we're watching oil tapering lower. Now looking at the stocks, it's a rotation and it continues. This time it's JP Morgan and AMD that have been the strongest on the board. Now lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin wavers, but it looks like it's forming a wedge formation. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. But before we start, just a very important note. And this really is just someone who's been in the markets a long time. Now, historically speaking, between Christmas and New Year's is probably the quietest year to trade the financial markets. Why? Because everybody's on vacation. Most people are taking this time off. And I know, especially in South Africa, that happens to be the case. And sure enough, it happens to be the case not just in South Africa, but mostly around the world because it's just a holiday season. People are not thinking about work. In financial institutions, people are taking some time off. They're going to warmer places or they're going skiing, one of the two extremes. And so if there's activity during this time of the week, that is very noteworthy. So let's get at it, okay? Euro USD. Euro broke out above 110.11-ish level. You see it right there, and then it just popped out for the last couple of days. Now, it's been inching higher. We've been watching it. We've mentioned it here on the Daily Review. So there's no reason people should not have taken advantage of it to really trade it on the upside. Now, the dollar is getting weaker versus not only the euro, but also if we look at the Japanese yen, it is getting stronger. The Japanese yen is getting stronger versus USD. This continued to break out further lower after I got that bounce. Now it's on that support-ish area, okay, which was previous resistance. And this is really an important area for the dollar to bounce here against the Japanese yen. However, if we look at the other major pairs, the British pound did not break out higher and did not gain. Now it's trailing and it's changing character because usually the euro always played catch up to the dollar versus the British pound, and this time it's the British pound that is kind of trailing behind, so it's important to note. Now jumping into commodities, gold holding steady at 2075. It did inch out higher, so this is a really important note that it did push out higher to 2085, but it's got to close above 2100 to really break that up on the upside, but it's not doing it. Now looking at crude oil tapering lower, and this we mentioned, it wasn't necessarily an upwards trend. It's more of a tapering off. Now we are at supporters level at $73. I do expect it to continue to be choppy. Now looking at the U.S. markets, the Dow Jones trades to new record highs yesterday, just inching higher. Not big, not a huge breakout, nothing really crazy, but it's on its highs and it's just inching higher. Now, what is taking it higher? Just 1 second. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ on its dead highs. NASDAQ has been very strong. So let's take a look at it. JP Morgan, which is one of the largest, it's the largest financial institution in the world. It merged with Chase Manhattan Bank and became one of the largest financial institutions in the world. It's in the trillions. That's how much it's worth, okay? Now, it's inching. This is a weekly chart. It's inching even higher to its all-time record highs. We've been watching it. The traders have been pushing this up, and we're just about 5 points away from its all-time record highs, which is really noteworthy. Now, Bank of America also gaining. So the banks are gaining, and that reflects on the New York Stock Exchange. Now, looking at the other stocks, okay, that have been relatively stronger, Tesla breaking out, okay, which is really an important factor to it. And if we look at the chip makers, Intel continues to be very, very strong as that breaks out on the high side once again, okay? So this is really very important to note here as this is also breaking out. Now look at AMD. This was another one, and I mentioned that in the intro. AMD is a major competitor to Intel, we mentioned this the other day, and is breaking out also to its highs. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin. This is really where it becomes very interesting. Now, remember, we had a wedge formation about a couple of weeks ago, okay, where we wedged Wedge formation means lower highs and lower and higher lows. So you can create this thing where it looks like something like this, okay? Now it's creating it again, just very subtly, okay? It's showing it, and usually speaking, after we get such a thing, we get an extreme move right afterwards, either upside or downside. So it's hard to really taper. It's not a right triangle wedge, it's a wedge. It's completely a wedge formation. So there's a lot of indecision at this area which way it's going to go, but it's going to go one or the other way. And so just keep in front of you, because it's a price action kind of asset to trade. So just keep that in mind. So lots of stuff still happening. We still have a day away for 2023. So be in it, trade it, just take it easy for the rest of the year, because there's some still decent advantages and opportunities to trade. Thank you for joining me. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day.